Hello and welcome back. The video you are about to watch is an edited down live stream that was originally published back on July 31st, where myself and Jacob, aka the Challenge Historian, collaborated, where we talked about the Challenge 42, made some predictions, did some superlatives, and just overall had a really fun time. This live stream is 2.5 hours long, and if you would like full access to this live stream as well as be a part of future live streams, please consider checking out my Patreon page at patreon.com/angelcakevids. If you sign up to be a part of my Patreon and the community over there, you would get access to weekly live streams, interviews, premium reality TV videos, premium challenge videos, most of which are not suitable over here on YouTube. So if you want access to any and all of that content, please consider going over to my Patreon and patreon.com/angelcakevids. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below and I'll get to you as soon as possible. But for now, I hope you enjoy this video. Hello and welcome everyone to a special broadcast where I am joined by Jacob, aka the Challenge Historian. We're going to go over some discussions of the Challenge Season 42 coming up, as well as give some preseason superlatives. We're going to make some predictions right before the season starts. Jacob, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? As well as what is your thought and feelings about the upcoming season?
Thank you for having me, Drew. Always a pleasure to join one of the greats of the challenge media world here. I am just thankful that in preparing for this episode today that I was able to watch a trailer that briefly was off of the internet a couple days ago.
That is something that I was going to bring up, is that there was legitimate pandemonium at some points for like 24 hours. I thought going into Wednesday, I was like, I would love for a super trailer to drop. And instead of getting a trailer, they took the one away and yeah, everybody was freaking out.
I really do think it was their cheap marketing trick. They marketed this season basically zero. And I think they were just like, oh, 1 week out, we could do another trailer, but we got to pay someone for that. You know what we could do? We could just delete the very little marketing we had, have all the cast members tweet out conspiracy theories, and it'll get people talking about it. And it kind of worked.
Now, how these superlatives work, we did a kind of predictions like preseason, what we know about the contestants or what we don't know. We also tried to do this thing where we have 12 superlatives and trying to match up one man and one woman for each one and try not to double up. I know that there's going to be challengers that can fit into multiple of these categories. And sometimes there's challengers that I felt like I kind of stretched to put into some of these. First one, who's the most likely to not see an elimination on the season?
On the men's side, I think it's Nelson, with the caveat if the other teams are picking in this scenario, because I think both the sympathy and just like enjoyment of Nelson's back with the amputated leg and like this is a cool story, and he makes your team a lot worse in the final. I'm just going to say it. So I think Nelson, if the other teams are picking, they're going to be like, dude was one out of the last 70 daily challenges he's ever taken part in. It's cool that he's here. We like having him in the house. He's going to hurt them in the final. Keep him around. On the flip side, I have Tori for not seeing elimination for the women if your own team picks who goes in, because I think she's going to be a leader amongst whatever team she gets in. She doesn't have any of her besties on this season, but she's kind of friends with everyone at this point in the challenge world. And I think she's going to be such an asset to her team.
For who's likely not to see an elimination on the season, I went chalk for the men. And I just decided to go CT. We saw him in season 37. If you can swap teams, I feel like people will not want to send CT in more than ever. They would want to try to jump onto his team. So if there is some infiltration, I feel like that gives him padding. I don't know how likely this is, but I'm going to say it because I think she fit better than anybody else in this. And I decided to go with Sydney as most likely not to see an elimination on the season. I think she's so confident and she has such a good vibe with a lot of the vets from last season. And I think she's going to be a good team player in every single challenge. She's going to give it 100%. So I just feel like if her own team is going to be voting that she would be like at least insulated and people would find her valuable on a team format.
I agree with the Sydney for the same reason I had like said Tori. If it's your own team throwing in, I could see, her being like, she's an asset. If you want to do the other elimination 1 second, your CT pick is going to go completely against my CT pick, which is the other elimination we have to talk about.
Okay. Well, we can go right into that then. Lead us into it.
It was not a good showing last season. And
Yes.
it was not only not a good showing, but it was also the first time that the rest of the cast, including all the rookies, full-throated were like, we don't care that you used to be the best person at this. You're not anymore. And like, we don't care, especially with as many rookies from last season coming back for a second season that were all a part of the, like, this guy bailed on different rookies. You know, he threw a challenge or whatever, when really he just kind of couldn't do the challenge.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be like, hey man, we don't know that we want you on our final team. And if you want to prove us wrong and just win all the eliminations for us, that's cool too.
I didn't really think about it that way, but man, if he comes in again, kind of like he did last season, people online were already likening him to like the Big Easy and everything. And this would be terrible for him if he were to come in and be the exact same way, unable to do heights challenges.
And I didn't even realize till just now, I had your 2 picks from the last one for this one. I had Sydney, but again, with the then caveat of flipping it to, if the other team is picking, that she would be viewed as the strongest woman on her team and they would all want to get rid of her.
This is a little weird, but it's not completely weird, because you said that you had my 2 picks from last time. I have your 2 picks, not for this one, but for another superlative. I matched up Nelson and Tori. I did another chalk answer just because I don't know where to put some of these rookies. And so for this, I decided to go with Keanu and Deb, just because just looking at their initial teams, I think Keanu, because he is like he seems like a intimidating guy, that if another team is voting in another team's players, I think I want to put it out there. I think some of the vets will play nice with each other in the beginning, which will lead to some rookie early on. And I can see them being like, well, we'll just put in Keanu. He is a big threat. It seems like he is a big guy. And if I'm not going against him, then by all means, put him in there over and over again. And then the same thing with Deb. If on her initial team, she is only rookie on her team, possibly. There's only 6. So
wait, do we know the teams?
They're in the trailer. I'm not going to say anything more, but
oh shoot. After we're done with this, I'm going to go look at them and immediately be like, well, all those superlatives were guaranteed wrong because of this.
No.
Okay, good to know.
But yeah, so I just went Keanu and Deb. I think it's easy to pick rookies to just go see multiple eliminations, and I don't know much about them, so I just went the chalk answer. There's one more that kind of goes into the vibe of multiple eliminations, and you kind of said one of the people, so I kind of want to get into it and jump into it. And we're talking about Big Brother, most likely to be an early boot. And again, chalk answer for me, because I did 2 more rookies where I did Riley and Josh. And I think it's low-hanging fruit with Riley because she only lasted like a week in the Big Brother house. She got the first HOH and then she was right out the door the second week she was there. Also, I don't know that much about Josh. He looks athletic, but also I just don't know who we would have on his side. Like, I think he could do well, but also coming in as a rookie, one of few rookies, I could see him easily being thrown in against Keanu in one of his multiple eliminations that I have him down for. And I would probably put my money on Keanu winning against Josh in what could be a hall brawl, what could be a pole wrestle.
I was the first match we've had of one. I did have Riley down. Kristen and other Big Brother folks, you can let me know. I remember people don't like her, right? You know, rookie going early. I don't know physical fitness wise if she's, going to be able to hang. And then I did have Keanu. This was one of the like last ones though, as I was moving around to fit everyone, and did kind of similar. While I think he obviously, big athletic guy, it was mainly that like, I think of the rookies, they usually, when the vet guys team up against rookies, they're very common to go for like, let's get the big, the big strong guy of them thrown in there. And so on the chances he gets something that doesn't, adhere to being the big, strong guy, that he could lose one. But it was mostly that, the rookies were a little hard to fit in, not knowing a lot about them. And he kind of just ended up here.
Let's go into the Confession King and Confession Queen of the season. So the way I went about this, because we do have another one that's like narrator of the season. And I feel like the difference is, in my mind, is that Confessional King and Queen are the ones that are either going to get the most confessionals, you could look at it, or the ones that are going to have the best confessionals. And then the narrator of the season would be the one who can weave the storyline throughout the season.
I'm in lockstep with that. That's
perfect.
exactly how I would describe both those two. I think Michelle and Corey both are really polished and good at the confessionals now, and are both like funny enough and witty enough and like talk enough smack and whatnot. And I think both will be around for the long haul, so have a lot of opportunity to get off a lot of good, funny confessionals. I went really back and forth. As much as I saw the same difference as you in like narrator versus confessional king or queen, I like flip-flopped my two answers for them a couple different times, because I do think Michelle and Corey also are in prime position as the like middle super vets to be if they go far, to be the narrators of the show, especially because Anissa's not there and the narrator of the season is the Anissa Award. They rely on her for that. But so I went Michelle and Corey.
I like those two picks. So for my Confession King and Queen, my queen I picked was Nerys. She's coming back, and I think she's going to have a lot to say. I think she's going to be leaned on heavily, and I just think that she's going to have her hands in everything. And then, of course, Bananas. I think he's going to be up to something. He's going to use that sisters writing notes that he did on House of Villains as well as the challenge. I think he's going to recycle something. He's going to have something up his sleeve, in his bag, that he's going to want to like present and everything. And he's just going to get a ton of confessionals as well. All right, let's see. Do you want to pick the next category? Just any category? Because I've been picking all of these. I can pick most of them. I don't know where to go from here.
We should do the other one that's coupled with it, since we already brought it up, of the narrator of the season, because those two do go together. And so for narrator, and again, I had like flip-flop back and forth. Like I originally had Michelle and Corey here, and then I switched them with these two, which are Bananas, who you just mentioned, and Cara. They're really good at confessionals and can be really funny and could be the king or queen. But I do think if both of them are there long enough, they lean super hard on the super vets. It's a way for them to give them a ton of screen time and kind of make do on how much money they're paying these people compared to the others to be there, in appearance fee, that they let them be like, get a ton of confessionals and you get the narration ones. You've done this a dozen seasons, 20 seasons, 25 seasons of Bananas. Like, you know what we're looking for to like re-explain the daily challenge. You know what we're looking for to explain this fight that happened partially off camera that then we, walked in the middle of. Give us, lay it out for us right now. Not your opinions, just like tell us what happened. If you told me right now, like Bananas and Cara both got like 14 confessionals in episode 1 versus like the next person was like 6 or 7, I'd be like, yeah, that tracks.
You mentioned him earlier, and that was Nelson. I think that he's going to come in, have a storyline because of his prosthetic leg and everything that he went through, and then trying to make his challenge comeback. I feel like you said, I feel like he's going to have a chance to go deep into the game. And with that, I think it's going to weave in this story of like overcoming challenges, being grateful to be having another chance on the challenge. I mean, we know Nelson can have those sound bites. We know that Nelson can be funny with the audacity.
He has one in the trailer already.
Yeah. As well as I'm going to go with Tori Deal. I think that she's always going to have those confessionals. And I think that she's
the perfect pick for this. And she would be the rightful successor to Anissa, as besties outside the show. And a big thing about the narrator is it's someone who, and it's why I like picked super vets and why I think like Tori's perfect for it, is like someone we want to hear from but isn't involved in the things, is the one literally narrating like the stuff but isn't like involved in the whatever's going on. And so I could see her very much being that kind of background vet personality that's just like, I'll explain everything that's happened in the house. And yeah, I think that's a perfect pick.
Sweet deal. Tori Deal. Who's most likely to be the messiest on the season? We can take this into many different forms, either getting the most drama, hookups, or anything like that, some form of drama. Who do you say are the most likely to be the messiest on this season?
This is one of these two people is the strongest I felt about any of these superlatives. I am 100% confident that Will be the messiest person on the season.
I said the same
He
thing.
was the messiest on last season, and it propelled him to a little bit of stardom. And he seems like a kind of guy that would be like, wouldn't be like, oh, I need to like get some of these emotions in check or like, like kind of try to rein some of that in. It would be like, well, that worked. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to hook up with Nani and I like got a lot of screen time and they
I'm
invited me back. And so like, let's do more of that. So I had Will, and then this is where I put Deb. I don't know anything about her. And I literally was just like, Deb Chubb from Love Island just sounds messy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I went with Will as well. So my second person that I picked was, I don't know too much about her, Anna Lee Wilson. I decided to pick. I heard that she's spicy. I've heard from people that watched her on Her Amazing Race that she will be very vocal and maybe will let people know when she's not vibing with somebody. And I feel like that could be messy. So I decided to choose Anna Lee Wilson for messiest.
I'm good with that. And I do remember from my research, the only thing I found out about her was is also a big time runner. So I remember just thinking like, that's really good for a final, that she seems to be like a distance runner, like runs marathons or something or whatever.
Next up, let's go for a nice fun one. And this one I did put like a little definition next to it. I put the most likely to be the life of the party. And I put who will be at the center of a dancing montage at the club / party. I decided to go for two people that I think are going to be dancing quite a bit. And I picked Cedric and Izzy. I think
I thought we were going to go 2 for 2.
Oh, Izzy, I think, is a slam dunk for this. I think that she's always a part of the dancing montages. Cedric, I think they want to highlight him. He did make it to the finals last season. He got 3rd place. And he's coming back as one of the younger players. And I think that they want to show him off. And I think he'll get into the dancing vibe, at least more so than some of the other challenge men. I don't know. I don't know too many of the challenge men who are like up and dancing and everything. So I went with Cedric and Izzy.
All right. So I matched with you on Cedric for similar reason of like, yes, I think he's one of the few men of this cast that would be like, I'll like go out and like get wild on the dance floor or whatever. But also I think he'll be incentivized too, because while he did really well last season, he ended last season with the rest of the crew that is coming back now with him for season 2 being upset with him, thinking that he kind of went against them at the end of it. And so I feel like he's going to be in like, I got to curry favor and like get people to like me again mode. And then I agree with your Izzy pick. I just really felt strong about her in another category. So I didn't have her here. I had Letty, who I think clearly from the trailer, from what little I've found out from her social media and whatnot, is very energetic. She has a background in professional wrestling. So she's got showmanship, out the wazoo. And I think when you put the like, in the dancing montage or whatever, I'm like, she's very attractive. She's young, showmanship, energy. Like it just made sense that she's going to be at the center of the party every time it's at the bar, whether it's the dancing or the fight or the cheers or anything that's happening when they get to go to the bar. I feel like she's going to be in the center of it.
I actually want to jump into where I have Letty, which is under the superlative of who is like the biggest sleeper of the season, where it's going to be like, you don't know what to expect from them coming in, or there could be an underdog. And then somehow they like play well or somehow get deeper into the game than what people would expect for them. So for me, it's Letty. She's coming in as one of the only 6 rookies, and her in the beginning of the trailer yelling at somebody for, have you not watched the last challenge? And it's like, I think that she is just going to come in ready to compete. I think she's going to be intimidating to a lot of the other contestants, especially some of the rookie women. I think she's going to be intense as a competitor. And I think she could have also played into who's likely to see multiple eliminations. And for me, knowing her background and how athletic she is, that she could probably go in and win a few and then come back out the other side kind of vibe. And on the men's side, I went with Justin. He was underrated last season. I think he's going to come back in underrated again or undervalued again. And I think he's coming in with a better mindset. He knows what he's in for. And I've seen his Instagram. He's been working out. So I think if he's coming in undervalued last season and he was able to win against Rogan, able to win against Gabe in the Stake the Claim, win against Cedric, but lost. To me, I think that Justin put in the work during the offseason. And I still think people are going to think that he's not going to be a good player and he's going to show up and show out.
He was one of my favorite castings at the end of last season. He was like top on my list of, again, I'm a big fan of like invite a bunch of the rookies back for a second season immediately. He was at my top of my list on the men's side, and he is my also sleeper pick here. I had Justin and Adrienne both in a similar role of they were the underdogs last season that proved themselves. Adrienne even more so. I think it was 4 elimination wins in the end that her and Theo had. A little, like you said, like still kind of undervalued or viewed as a little underdog, but I kind of just had it as like, I think it's a step up from underdog to you're a sleeper where like, no one's like discounting you, but they're still not thinking of you as the top threat. And us as the fandom, or maybe, you're not going to be the first 3 or 4 names we say, but would come up very quickly. They were the underdog that proved themselves. And now I feel like they'll just be quietly competent in the background of like, no one's doubting them, but no one's like necessarily like, we got to get them out by any means.
We have like 2 categories that are like positive, I would say, and then 2 not so positive. So I feel like we should go not positive, positive, not positive, positive. And I think we should lean into the most paranoid.
I will lead this off. So I got one person we have talked about briefly and one we have not. I had Izzy here, which again, I agreed with you completely that like could very well be the life of the party and was the other spot I was going to slot her. But I think the combo, if she went home really early last season, had this just as negative of an experience as you could have, like on your first time on the season of like, I got sent home early. I started hooking up with a guy who had a girlfriend, it turned out, and then he was like really crappy about it. And the whole thing has the bona fides to be a good challenger. So I could see her coming in being like, I am not letting that happen again. Like, I know I can be good at this, and could just see that spinning into like, being really, really paranoid about everyone around. And then I had Leo. I had a hard time figuring out exactly where he fit amongst these superlatives. I could say he's the least paranoid person, what we saw last season, because he's just like so confident and like clearly thinks really highly, not just of himself, but like the ideas he has. But I feel like because he seemed to have that like, I know everything going on at all times, whether I do or not. Like, I know I can read that person, that he's I took it a little more instead of paranoid, overthinking the game a little bit of like, he'll just be so overconfident of like, no, we've got the numbers because this person, why would they vote for them? They would obviously vote for them. And when us, the audience is like, dude, because they just said in confessional, the opposite of everything you just said. Like
for my picks, most paranoid, I went with Brad. I think he takes the game very seriously, which I love, but there's a point where I think he takes it too seriously. And it kind of like he gets wrapped up into his brain to where I don't want to be sent in. I don't want to go, but he will step up, but then he'll second guess himself as he's going. Like as hours pass, he'll like have that roller coaster of like, I can do this, send me in, and then have instant regret. I worry for Brad because I don't think he has a lot of help on this season or anybody really looking out for him.
All right, I just realized a couple of things. One, how many superlatives do we have? Don't we have 12 superlatives?
I believe so.
Okay, so somehow I did double up on a guy because I don't have Brad down. So yeah, I could see him being kind of on the outs and getting in his head about it.
Second person that I picked for most paranoid, I don't think you'll like this pick, but I did pick Michelle. Just because of the whole thing.
She's shown it in the past.
Yeah, she's shown it in the past. And if her name starts getting floated out there, not saying that Bananas is going to want to send her in. Maybe she's patched that up. It sounds like her, Tori, and Cara also have a really good. But just in case there is that thing of like, hey, I heard she's good at puzzles. And then her name gets floated out there. And then I could just see her just being like, oh no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I figured out after relooking at my list, Leo was the person I did put twice, it turns out. And so I will change my pick and agree with you that Brad is the male pick for most paranoid, so that I got Brad on my list and can use Leo later. Brad didn't fit where I had Leo later on. So
who do you think it will be most likely or the most cutthroat on season 42 Cutthroat?
So this is where I had Leo the other time.
Okay,
And and I put my only I put like a half to full sentence for each person for my reasoning. And I just put, will think he is. I don't know if he'll actually be the most cutthroat, but he will talk about doing the most cutthroat things.
Yes.
But one way that I know he will talk the talk and act like he's the most cutthroat person there. So I had him. And this is where I had Nerys, because I think she has it in her to be super manipulative, cutthroat, doesn't care. So I think she's going to come in not giving an F about anything, not any alliance, not anyone in the house, not whether she does a good job for production, whether she builds fans, none of it. I think she is there to try to make some money, period. The moment I get the chance, whatever the most cutthroat thing I could do, that's what I will do.
I do love those two picks. I also pick Leo here because one of two things will happen. He's either going to be throwing out any and all plans or just any and all names to try to get his team to make the big moves. And then they'll either be like, okay, we'll think about it, and then we'll move on to actually doing what we want to do. Or that somebody's going to like say in his ear, we should do this, or you guys should do this. And he's going to jump on it and be like, yeah, we should do this. Okay, for the women pick on the most cutthroat, I decided to go with Cassidy. I think she's coming in
good choice,
almost very similar to what we said about Nerys. I think she's going to come in. She did USA 2. I think she was very excited to get another chance whenever she could get the chance. And then she waited, or they waited to call her. And now she's finally back. And I think she's going to want to take as many chances as possible. She's from Survivor, so she knows like we should just go for it kind of vibe, as well as I think she has a list because of what happened to her last time she was on the challenge, that she was thrown in over and over and over again. And she's like, I want to make people not have to coast. I don't want people coasting at all. So whenever I got the opportunity, I'm going to send this person in. I'm going to send this person in. What are we waiting for? Nobody gave me any slack on my first season of the challenge. And I think she's going to want to go in and swing for the fences. All right, let's do the final negative one. And this will be who will most likely get no camera time. This is basically, we're boiling it down to who's not really being focused into the drama, who's not really hooking up, or maybe getting confessionals coming back from a sort of commercial break where they're like, in this daily challenge.
I think I'm going to be very wrong on both of these. This did become I'm just putting two of the rookies here that I don't know much about.
Same here. Well, not rookies, but I too was just like, okay.
There's no, Casey's not here.
Yeah.
Some of our obvious, and I do think CT actually could have been an answer for this on a few seasons there, but not anymore. So I put Annalie and Josh. I think it could be the case for Josh. He's going to make outs with someone, maybe go into a bathroom with someone in one of the first two episodes. And then I don't know that we're going to get a lot from him from the trailer and the little bit of social media deep dive I did on him. Annalie, again, we talked about her earlier, and I'm hopeful she will be, have a lot of personality, and they'll actually let us see some of that and everything. So this was a pure, I didn't really have anyone to put here, and I didn't know where else to put you because I don't know much about you. So sorry, I hope this is not true.
Two people that I feel like I'm going to be wrong about this, because this is one of the last ones. I don't know what to do, but I feel like I could make a case for it. And I think I have a similar case for it. Not necessarily that they're going to be going home early, or I don't see them doing well, but it's one of those things where I'm going to deem it the Jeremy edit, even though it can happen to a lot of people. It's somebody who is a good player who plays solidly every time, just doesn't get into a ton of drama and all this other stuff, but you could see them going far and somehow they make it to the final or something. And then all of a sudden it's they could be the winner, but they got the fewest amount of confessionals. So that's what I picked. And I went with Chris Underwood and Adrian.
I think you are spot on with Chris. That probably I should have put him there. He is the last person I have left for our last category, but of being the just like, this guy is really great at this, and so they got to invite him back. But besides everyone talking about how hot he is, like he's like a family man, real chill, relaxed, doesn't want to go out on the bar nights. So like, he can fit that Casey mold of like, I'm just really good at this, guys. That's why I'm here.
The final one, who do you think will step up as the leader of their teams or for their teams? Now, I picked 3 people because there's 3 teams, because we see what I think is the initial teams in the trailer. I picked 3 people that were on the different teams that we saw in the trailer. I can go first. And
you go first. I was trying to pull up. I was going to look at the teams, but no one seems to have actually written that out on the internet, what the teams that are shown in the trailer.
But for mine, I doubled up on bananas. There could be another name for this, but I think that person will be a little bit more passive, be more of a team player. Cara, I think because of the seniority, I think that she will step up and people will listen to her because of her experiences and everything. And then I went with Corey, mainly because of season 37. When he was on the Ruby team, he really wanted his Ruby team to win so badly. And he was the one that was stepping up then. And I think he will also be stepping up for his team as well. So that's where I fit Cara and Corey. And then I doubled up on bananas just because.
I had Chris and Cassidy, which I don't believe the Cassidy one. This is just where she ended up because she is not so far, both on her season of Survivor and season of the challenge. But Chris, I think, will be, because he is so like mellow and chill, will be like the most obvious. Hey, that guy rules. We need him. Like he's the best guy here. He's won everything he's ever done before, and we need to keep him around. And he seems like the only thing he'd be willing to say is like, tell his team good job and be supportive and like a kind of quiet leader.
I just sent you an email with a screenshot of the challenge Wikipedia with all the sides. So
perfect. I will pull that up here.
Color coordinated with the name. But those were all the superlatives. I want to say thank you so much for doing this exercise with me tonight, because this was a lot of fun.
Okay, so I'm looking at these teams now. And so we won't say them for the because for folks that don't want, but they are lopsided. Do you think this will be is this a draft? This has to be a draft, right? They're going to do it. I'm going to be furious if it's not a draft, because drafts are one of my all-time hardline challenge things. Is anytime they've done a draft, it's been a great thing. It's worked every single time. They should do it more often. And I can't imagine they would do it any other way than a draft, like who gets to be captains, whatever, however they decide that. But I'm very surprised that one of the teams is like one of the teams. Like, I'm shocked if this is the real team to start.
Throw it over to you and say, where can people find you? Where can they find your coverage? And where can people follow you for further content?
Challenge Historian on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Will be covering the season here. You've heard most of my preseason thoughts, but we'll have up this weekend my version of preview for the season. Then we'll cover every episode. I watch the episode the moment it's available. I podcast immediately afterwards. So those will be out, and I cover the challenge. I cover Survivor when that comes back around, and mainly just those 2 shows right now. But Challenge Historian, YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts.
Sweet deal. Well, I want to say thank you again. This was really, really fun getting to talk with you. I'm excited to see if our superlatives were able to hit towards the end of the season, and we can even go back and just see.
I'm going to track them. Yeah, I'm going to see. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think if we can even get like 5 out of 12, if either of us could get to 5 out of 12, because again, it's a pretty impossible exercise. I'd be impressed with that. We'll see.
Well, we'll schedule that for after the season, and we'll definitely do it and re-see how everything goes. But thank you so much again. That is it for this video. What do you think about our superlatives? Do you agree or disagree with who we chose for each superlative? If there is a category that you very much disagree with and have your own thoughts on who should have been in that category, Let me know down in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. I now want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 42 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.